So yeah, hey folks, Assalamualaikum. I'm Mohammad Shahriar. I'm Mitul, a Gold Microsoft Linux Ambassador and the user group lead for Azure Tech Group Bangladesh. So previously we've seen how to create an Azure account. So now I'm assuming that you have already created that account so far, and now you have started actually exploring the Azure account, and maybe you're a student and you have got the Azure for student benefit, or maybe you are a professional and you have actually created the account and got $200 actually credits, right? So now here comes the most important part. So there are a lot of folks who don't understand this part, like credit. So what is this credit all about? It's basically simple, just like credit card or something. So you can actually buy some credits, just the same amount of the money. So you can see for the professionals you got $200 credit. For the professionals or for the students we got $100 credit for 12 months, right? So you can use services and others worth of $200 and $100. So for the students, it's for the students, and it's for the professionals, right? So that's the thing right now. And but other than this, obviously you have a lot of free stuffs as well. You can see when we were actually talking about those free tiers and so on, you saw there are a lot of almost 55 plus services who are free, but there is obviously some limitation so that you can't use it for the company purpose, because obviously no one wants wants to offer someone a free account or someone's a benefit, and no one wants that, right? Then they don't expect that you actually use that for your own benefit and you make a big loss for them. Surely not, right? So this is the basic concept of credit. So you can just use the services worth of $200 or $100. Okay, so you can actually buy credits or you can get gifts maybe. So how can one actually get those? In general, what happens if you just attend maybe any Microsoft event or something, you might get those benefits, like you might get like this $20 credit, or you might get $100 credit or something. You might get those, so you will get some coupon, you will just add with your profile or something, and then you can just use that benefit. But professionally, what happens is just spend the amount of you just spend the amount in your resources or services and so on. Then by the end of the month they actually charge it from your card, right? So this is how it happens basically as a whole. But yes, there are programs like if you talk about Microsoft Learners Ambassador program. So in those programs what happens is actually the Microsoft Learners Ambassadors get almost $150 credits per month. So yeah, they can actually use $150 per month, so they do get those benefits. And also, for as I mentioned about the lot of Microsoft events that does happen, so you can also get those benefits as well. So yeah, that is what the credit part is all about. So let's get back to our Azure. Now talking about how these platform as a whole looks like. So there are a lot of folks who don't know like how it works and so on. So yeah, we will actually explore every services and so on, and we will understand how the whole thing works actually, right? And after that we will start using services. Okay, now talking about how the whole thing works. So first of all, we can just go to this portal, like you can write it down like portal.azure.com, and then you can just look this kind of thing. So the services, there'll be a lot of services out here, naturally not every services, but most of the services will be out here in the left portion, you can see, right? So there is a dashboard, all services, just is after you press it, you can see all of the services Microsoft provides you for their cloud service. And especially right now, you can see these are on the preview mode. Azure AI Studio and so on, right? So yes, something this is very famous nowadays, like this Azure and AI stuff after having like the open AI with them, right? Okay, so a lot of services you can see. If you just categorize them, like the AIML services are here, analytics, DevOps. So these services are needed in DevOps. Like for migration, you use as a data box, recovery, service vaults, and so on. For monitoring, you use these kind of things and so on. We will understand a lot of stuff so gradually. When we will actually understand that gradually, and actually it depends on our need. But one thing that was not very much there, so the most important thing that most people don't know is, like, maybe there are a lot of folks who are starting Azure, so it is very much overwhelming for them. So what Microsoft did is they have introduced this Copilot here, just like they have introduced all within all of their services, the basic Copilot one. So they have also added that out here. So now you can just tell the Copilot like what you want to do. You can get the commands, or you can tell it to like do that stuff for you, right? That's very beneficial because yeah, now you just don't need to like manually search for various places to learn few stuffs, right? It's very good, right? Okay, we'll use that if we need so, right? Okay, so there are a lot of services we'll use that, but it's important to understand like how this whole thing actually works, right? So we will actually know about it, like the whole thing actually works on subscription, resource group, resources, etc. Okay, so these are the basic things which we need to know about Microsoft Cloud. Okay, so let's know about it. Okay, now, like basically we want to know how it totally works and so on. So before starting that, we need to know the scope portion. So this is very important. So I could actually easily draw it down or create a slide, but it's important that you know every developer or everyone actually reads from the documentation. So I am here showing you the documentation, and in future sessions we will actually go for maybe Microsoft Learn modules, and we'll learn from those. So we will at the same time read and apply those. Okay, now here is most interesting part. So here you can see the scope label. So first of all, if we take this image and let's take it out here. Okay, sorry for that, I guess. Let me do one thing. Okay, and I will, it's better to use this one, I guess. Sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah, that will work. Now here is the interesting part. Okay, now so maybe you're a new user, or maybe you have a company. So assuming that you own a company, so the company is all about building solution or something like that. So in your company, maybe AI solutions, in your company you have developers, right? You have developers. At the same time, in your company you might have others, right? Some like which checks some folks who are in operations, developer and operations. Okay, so for the developers you create a management group. In the management group you can add them. Okay, for the developers, maybe developers group. For the operations team you can also create them. Now here is most interesting part. For that group you can actually have multiple subscriptions. Okay, so why do you create subscriptions differently or something? Okay, now we will understand that. So here you can see we have subscription 1 and we have subscription 2, right? For subscription 1 we have 2 resource group, which is very important. resource group. So under resource group, we have all of the resources we use. It can be resources 1, it can be resource 2, all of those in one resource. There is multiple resources, 3 resources in one resource group, one resource in resource group. So why are we creating this resource group? So basically from this subscription, you can see there are 2 resource groups, and all of the things, like if you use these services, if you use this service, these are actually some sort of images, which means some sort of services. We will understand gradually what they do mean, right? But surely there are 2 services, there are 3 services within this resource group, 2 in this resource group. So if we delete this resource group, what will happen? All of the resource will be gone. So these are resources. All of the resources, you can keep it in a resource group. Just, I think it is much more better to look into these, right? Because all of these are just one in number. Subscription, resource group, resource, right? So there can be multiple resource groups within a subscription, right? So your team, maybe it's like developer and operations, or it can be maybe if you talk about DevOps engineer, which actually they actually practice both, right? So the DevOps engineer, few of the DevOps engineer actually will actually use some services. You assume there are 3 DevOps engineer, one will use these, another DevOps engineer will use these services, and another one will use these services. So depending on the use, for the DevOps engineer 1 and 2, there will be this subscription, and for the DevOps engineer 3, there will be this subscription, and as a whole, so there will be charges on that. So basically you have to understand this scope, because if you understand that, when we are going to create every service, anything we are going to create, you can talk about virtual machine, storage, and so on and so forth, you'll just see there are 2 things every time. You won't see this management group as a whole, because you can create that, but as a whole we don't see that. But you will see these and these must. Resource group and subscription, and basically this is what you are creating, right? So I think you understood, like these things are very normal and you will have to go through these. Okay, so again you have seen, like within a management group there can be multiple subscription, or also there can be multiple management groups as well. So this is how it works. And the format, scope format. So scope is something the kind of reach or the limit, you can say. Okay, so this is within like a code format. Subscription ID, subscription has actually subscription ID. So if you have some sort of subscription, if you so how can you know that? So if you're using Azure for students, you will see, if you go to subscription, you will see there is a subscription ID. And also if you're using Azure for free as a professional, also $200 credit you have, you might see the subscription is provided by Visual Studio Code benefit, and you will also have a subscription ID out there. So yeah, you can just check it out from here. Okay, if you just press a subscription, you will go there. So but I'm not going to actually show this, because yeah, I think you can see here the name. So the subscription, you can check that one. The type is subscription, and this is my subscription actually. This is how I got the subscription. Okay, this is provided by Microsoft, as I am Microsoft Linux ambassador. Okay, so that was an important part for actually the Microsoft Azure and its scope. So now if we want to start with one service, which is basically maybe a virtual machine. Okay, let's just press this one, virtual machine. So how one create a virtual machine, or what happens in virtual machine, and so on. So all of the computing, it's that actually happens in virtual machine. So let's just create one. Create So here you can see Azure virtual machine with preset configuration. That means that, what does it mean? It actually means that you have some preset configuration, or that means you previously created a virtual machine, and all of those are set, and you just want to use the same quantity and just the same virtual machine, and create a lot of lot in bunch, right? So maybe you are using 8 GB RAM and some sort of hard disk and etc. So you want to create 100 more. So once you have that one created, you can just follow this one. Or Azure ARC virtual machine as a VMware solution. So these are not needed for us, for the industry personnel. So we are just going to focus on Azure virtual machine. Okay. Okay, let's wait. Okay, now here's the interesting part. So that is what I was mentioning. You can now see that you have to fill it up, subscription and resource group. So if you don't if you're using the Azure for students, you will actually have some sort of subscription out here, that $100. If you're also a professional and you have just created your account, you will also find it one. But after 12 months, there won't be a subscription. So you have to create one, and then you have to link your card to that subscription if you don't have created one. So yes, you have to then select one. You might have multiple subscription, because why I did mention it. So when we were learning, you can see in the management group there are 2 subscription, and the DevOps engineers all can actually access these 2 subscriptions. So you can have multiple subscription, there is no problem. So you might be within a group and you can just choose any of the subscription, but you have to know which you want to use. Now we can choose a resource group. You can see I don't have any resource group, so I can create one. So I can give this name kind demo VM. I think, yeah, resource group. So I've given a resource group name, and it is done. Now virtual machine name. So that means, so how am I creating this? So the subscription, I'm just using Visual Studio Code, something like that. And also I have that subscription, and also within the resource group, I have like demo VM. This is my resource group name, and I was mentioning these are masked, right? If you just check this out, subscription and resource group done. Now resource, this is a VM. So I'm going to create a VM. So I can give this a name, right? So yeah, demo should be a good name. And region. Now the question might come up like, what is region and what is this all about, right? So region and etc. These are a few concepts. Let's just go to ping and ask for it. Like Azure region, what do you know about it? Okay, we can just read the documentation, right? It should be better for us. Okay, so it's kind of loading. That's great. Okay, so you can see this is also a benefit, but we will know about it later on. Okay, so selected geography. So maybe you are from Asia, assuming the Asia Pacific. So you can see in the Asia Pacific there is like East Asia and Southeast Asia, something like that. Okay, but the interesting portion is like, for some actually Azure Microsoft offers the government one, and there are some restrictions so on with that, but for the government perspective, like the government want to use or something, then they should create one. So for the Australia, you can see, actually basically you can see all of these are like kind of start free, you can find it out. So also from here you will see this East Asia is available with 3 zones. Southeast Asia is available with 3 zones. So there is the concept of region. This is the region. There is 3 zones, and also 3 zones. So Australia Southeast has no zones, but it has mentioned like nearest region with zones available is Australia East. You can see 3 zones. So also it has no zones, so Australia East has that. So if you just press explore the globe, so here you can see cloud benefits. There's a lot of blogs out here, right? So yes, the global perspective, you can see, and let's learn more from here. Yeah, I think loading the Azure global infrastructure experience should be better. Now it is much more better for us, right? Why? If you talk about why now, let's go to, yes, you can see out here. If we check this one, is Australia. Yes. So here Australia East, Australia Central, and Australia Southeast. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually understand with this geographical one. Okay, so choose this one. So Australia East has 3 zones, right? So it's this Australia East. Okay, zones, 3 zones. It has also mentioned, right? So Australia South, no zones. Actually no zones as well. So you can also see kind of how they are actually connected, how Microsoft connected, like so how this is actually working and something. Okay, basically these are the regions where all of your data within a region, okay, there are kind of zones. So in the zones, kind of basically there are kind of servers, you can say multiple servers. So you can keep in, assuming there is 3 zones. When you keep your data in one zone, it just goes there. If there is zone, basically it is at least 3. So if there is region, it's just generally 1. Okay, so there, if there is zone, it is generally the servers are 3. So in the region, you can see if there are zones like 3. So once you are using just you are just you keeping your data just in the one server, there will be the data. Okay, now let's go, let's see if we can deep dive here. I don't think so. So just we can just zoom it out. Okay, that's okay, no issues, I guess. Yeah, we can just zoom from till these. Okay, no issues. Now the factor is like if you have 3, so why we are actually worried about zones, that's the most interesting part. Okay, so there are like you can see there is it is the basically the sea. So maybe there can be disaster that can happen, right? Tsunami or so on. So the zones might, one of the zones might actually get vanished, right? Might get destroyed. So if there are another zones, if you can just pair one zone with another, then your data will be saved there. So your companies, all of the data is here, and there were 2 zones where you actually kept your data. So one data is stored, the server is totally destroyed, but another was is totally available. Then people around the globe can actually use your services, whatever the services it is. But if you just keep your data in one zone and that zone is destroyed, then your service will be gone for them for a lot of time, right? Till Microsoft actually recovers from the problem, right? Okay, so that is why within a region in the area, we actually try to keep our data within actually zones. Okay, so that is one of the biggest important part. So yeah, I think you understood like what is this and so on. Now what we can do, you can see zone 1 2 3 in the Southeast Asia. So again, so let's do one thing. Okay, Asia Pacific. So here you can see we have 2 in Asia Pacific and we have available with 3 zones. So that's why you can choose that. But if we choose the Australia one, right? So here you can see, if you go here, Australia East, Central and Southeast. So here you can just find out, like in Asia Pacific you can just use Australia East. So like zones, you can get those, but can you actually find Australia and this, like Australia Central and this? Okay, so when we have chosen Australia Central, you can't see these like available zone or something. There is no zones out there. But as we have seen, right, if we choose Australia Central, we have no zones, right? But if we choose Australia, I guess Southeast, again, isn't it same? Yes, no zones. It will be coming soon, so we can see. But if we choose Australia East, right? Yes, you can see available zone. Now you can now select multiple zones. Selecting multiple zones will create 1 VM per zone. So how is it saving you? As I mentioned, like we are creating 1 VM, but in the southeast we have 3 zones. This one building is one building and this is another building. Okay, so 1 VM actually is kept in this building. If we just choose 2 zones, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, assuming we are choosing these 2 zones, so one VM will be created here and another VM will be created here. They will be identical. So the benefit of having zones is, if there is a calamity or a disaster, if one is still destroyed, another is still there. So because most of the people who use cloud is basically business professional, that is one of the reasons they actually use this. Okay, so yeah, they can just choose 1 and 3 and so on, right? So yeah, then we can just proceed. So we are in this video, we are not going to create the VM. I just wanted to show you how the whole Azure platform looks like, and I just wanted to give you an idea of how the whole scope thing works. Okay, and we actually came to know about regions and zones, like why we need zones, like why we need regions with multiple zones and so on. So I think that's it for this session, and I hope to see you in the next session as well. So thank you so much, and yes, enjoy the Azure Mania.